Breaking news. Putin targets civilians with Shahed drones.
It is Wednesday, January 28th, 2026.
And the rules of engagement in Ukraine have just shifted in a way that should alarm everyone.
Absolutely.
Before we get into it, if you want to stand with the truth and stay ahead of these developments, subscribe to Defense Reports. It's your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex.
And I'm Arya.
Join me with Arya in the latest deep dive by Defense Report for sharp, no-nonsense breakdowns of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover a tragedy that unfolded yesterday in the Kharkiv region.
But we need to be really clear here. This isn't just about one attack on one train.
No. If you see it that way, you miss the entire picture. What happened on January 27th is maybe the clearest sign yet of a systematic shift in Russian strategy.
We're seeing a pivot toward what some are calling infrastructure-centric precision warfare.
That sounds very clinical. The reality on the ground is anything but. We're talking about a drone strike on a passenger train.
Full of civilians.
But when you start to peel back the layers here, you find this terrifying mix of, well, a few key things. Smuggled Western technology, for one.
A new generation of jet-powered drones that are literally outpacing air defenses.
And maybe the most disturbing part, a new tactic that is specifically designed to hunt and kill first responders.
And people trying to save lives.
Yeah. We have a lot to get through today. We are going to unpack the Starlink connection, and I know people have questions about how Elon Musk's tech is reportedly guiding Russian drones.
We'll look at the double-tap tactic.
And we're going to discuss the new jet drone, the Jiran 5. It is changing the speed of terror.
It's a lot, but it's essential to understand where this war is heading in 2026.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, the incident itself. It happened yesterday near a village called Yazykov in the Kharkiv region. What exactly happened?
So this was the Barvinkov-Lviv Chop passenger train. And context is key here. This isn't some military transport.
Right, not moving tanks.
No, this is a civilian lifeline. It's used by families fleeing the shelling in the east.
Yeah.
Just people trying to get to safety. There were 291 passengers on board.
And the reports I'm seeing suggest this wasn't an accident, not a missile going off course.
Not at all. The impact patterns show this was precise. They used 3 Shahed-type drones. And they didn't just hit the train, they bracketed.
Bracketing. What does that mean?
It means 2 drones hit the ground right next to the tracks, basically boxing it in. And then the third drone struck a carriage directly.
And they went for the locomotive specifically, I read.
They did. They hit the head of the train. And that small detail is hugely important strategically. We'll get to that.
But first, the human cost.
It's just devastating. As of this morning, it's 5 confirmed dead. But the scene? It's a nightmare. The carriage was on fire. The explosion was so intense they're finding fragments of bodies.
Oh my God.
They have to use DNA testing just to identify the victims. There were 18 people in that one carriage.
And this is all happening in the dead of winter. It's freezing in Kharkiv.
Exactly. And the city is already on the edge. 40% of Kharkiv is without power because of other strikes. So you have people fleeing a city with no heat in the snow.
Only to be targeted like this.
President Zelensky immediately called it what it is.
An act of terrorism.
How can you argue otherwise? There is zero military justification for this. No troops, no weapons, just an attack designed to create fear.
It just feels different. Hitting a moving train implies a level of sophistication, of very specific intent.
It does. And that brings us to the bigger strategy, the war on the rails. This is that shift I mentioned.
What spread is this?
The numbers are they're staggering. In 2025 alone, there were 11,195 attacks on Ukrainian railways.
Wow.
That's more than the previous 2 years combined. The pace is accelerating.
And the goal is what? Just to stop Western aid getting to the front?
That's part of it, of course.
Yeah.
Stopping ammo, grain, all of that. But the bigger goal is paralysis. The railways are the arteries of the country. If you sever the link between, say, Kharkiv and the west, you're essentially laying siege to the whole region.
You make it uninhabitable.
You freeze the population out. And that's why hitting the locomotive, the engine, is so much more effective than just blowing up a piece of track.
Because the tracks can be repaired pretty quickly, right?
Ukrainian rail workers are heroes. They can fix bombed-out tracks in hours. But a locomotive, that's a complex, expensive piece of machinery. You can't just fix that in a field.
And you can't easily import new ones.
Right. It creates a massive bottleneck. You destroy enough locomotives, and it doesn't matter how good the tracks are. Nothing moves. It's suffocation.
Grim. Okay, I want to pivot to the how. Hitting a moving target with a drone, in a snowstorm no less, is not simple. A standard Shahed is basically fire and forget. It goes to a GPS point. But a train moves.
And this is where it gets really controversial. The answer, according to the technical analysis, is Starlink.
Starlink. As in SpaceX's satellite internet.
The very same.
But wait a minute. I thought Starlink was geofenced, that SpaceX stopped it from working in Russia or occupied territories.
And technically, that's true.
Yeah.
If you fire up a Starlink dish in Moscow, you won't get a signal. But think about where these drones are flying.
Over Ukraine.
Over Ukraine.
Yeah.
Exactly. The satellite grid just sees a terminal asking for a connection from inside Ukrainian borders. It thinks it's a friendly user, a Ukrainian soldier, a medic. It has no idea that terminal is duct taped to a Russian drone.
That's a huge loophole. So what does this give the Russian operator?
It's a game changer. It turns a dumb drone into a manually piloted weapon. With Starlink, the operator gets a live, high-speed video feed.
So they can see what the drone sees in real time.
Yes. They see the terrain, they spot the train, and they can steer the drone to the target. It allows them to hit moving targets from, hundreds, even over 1,000 kilometers away.
And this bypasses jamming, because Ukraine's electronic warfare teams are some of the best in the world.
That's the other key advantage. Traditional jamming is ground-based. It's like trying to blind someone with a flashlight from across a field. But the Starlink signal comes from space. It's a focus beam coming straight down. It basically just steps over all that ground-based interference. It's incredibly hard to jam.
A technological nightmare. But how are they even getting the hardware? I mean, sanctions are in place.
Through a massive smuggling operation. They call it parallel imports.
So this isn't just a few terminals in a suitcase.
No, this is industrialized. Investigators have traced the whole route. Terminals are bought in places like the UAE, Central Asia, countries that haven't sanctioned Russia.
Then shipped over.
They're repackaged.
Yeah.
And here's the really cynical part. On the customs forms, they're not labeled as satellite terminals. They use HS code 870-89900.
And that code is for?
Other motor vehicle parts.
Auto parts.
Auto parts. A customs inspector sees that, they just wave it through. It's just spare parts for a car, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's the guidance system for a terror weapon.
It's infuriating. And it's not just the comms, is it? The reports also mention AI chips.
Right. This is the backup plan. So if the Starlink signal does get jammed for a moment, these new drones have NVIDIA AI chips inside. The Jetson TX2 and Orin modules.
NVIDIA, the
Yeah.
computer graphics card company.
The very same. These little chips are incredibly powerful. They let the drone run machine vision algorithms.
So the drone can see for itself.
It can be trained to recognize shapes, the silhouette of a locomotive, a power plant. So if the human operator loses connection, the AI just takes over, finds a target on its own, and finishes the job.
Satellite control with an AI backup. That is a terrifying combination.
It is. And the threat is evolving physically, too. We need to talk about the Dran 5.
The new model. The old Shaheds had that loud lawnmower engine sound. The moped of the sky.
And that noise was a weakness. It gave people time to get to shelter. It gave mobile fire groups time to track and shoot them down.
The Dran 5 is different.
It's a jet. No more propeller. A lot more speed. High subsonic. It cuts the reaction time from minutes down to seconds. For an air defense team, tracking a propeller drone is one thing. Tracking a jet is a whole different ballgame. Interception is just so much harder.
Faster, smarter, smuggled tech. But there was another detail in the reports that was just stomach-turning about mining crash sites.
This is where the tactics go from military to just purely sadistic. We're seeing drones that, when they're shot down, are carrying PTM-3 anti-tank mines.
So they're dropping mines as they go.
Sometimes dropping, sometimes just carrying them to the crash site. And these mines have magnetic detonators.
Magnetic. So they're designed to hit vehicles.
Right. Now, who drives a big metal vehicle up to a drone crash site?
The police, first responders, the bomb squad.
Exactly. They drive up to investigate. It's winter. The mine is hidden in the snow. You can't see it. The vehicle gets close. The magnetic fuse triggers, and it takes out the rescue team.
It's a trap for the helpers.
It is. And that philosophy connects directly to the double tap tactic we're seeing more and more.
Explain what that is for anyone who doesn't know.
The group Truth Hounds has documented it extensively. It's brutally simple. You hit a target, an apartment building, a train station. Then you wait.
You wait for
the first responders to arrive, the ambulances, the firefighters. Once they're on site, digging through the rubble, you hit the exact same spot again.
My God.
They've verified it at least 36 times, but it's escalating now. We saw it in Booty, where the head of the Kharkiv emergency services was killed in that second strike.
Is there any military logic to that at all?
None. Killing a paramedic doesn't win you the war. The intent is purely psychological. It's designed to make people afraid to help their neighbors.
It's about breaking the society, not just the army.
And it coincides with leadership changes in the Russian missile troops. The doctrine seems to be shifting to maximize cruelty.
Okay, let's zoom out. All of this tactical horror is happening against a backdrop of high-stakes politics.
It is. You can't see these attacks in a vacuum. There are diplomatic talks happening right now in Abu Dhabi. U.S., Ukraine, Russia.
So these strikes are a negotiating tactic.
Kinetic terror is leverage. Russia's trying to show they can hit anywhere, anytime. They want to sit at the table and say, we can freeze your country if you don't give us what we want.
And the scary part is, given the state of air defenses, it's not an empty threat.
It's dire. The NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte, just warned that the interception rate for missiles has dropped to 36%.
36. It was over 60%.
It was. The systems work, but they're running out of missiles for the Patriots, for the NASAMS. They're empty.
And even with drones, where the rate is higher?
It's about 83%.
Yeah.
But if Russia launches 165 drones in one night, and they are, that still means almost 30 get through. And those are the ones hitting the trains.
The casualty numbers from that new CSIS study are also just hard to comprehend.
1.8 million military casualties total. They're projecting it could hit 2 million by spring.
World War numbers. And amidst all this, there was that Financial Times report about the U.S. pressuring Ukraine to give up the Donbas.
We have to be careful with that. U.S. sources officially denied they're forcing concessions. But is the pressure real? Absolutely. When you combine the missile shortages with this terror on the rails, the squeeze is on.
So let's try to tie this all together. What is the single most important takeaway from all this?
The takeaway is that this is a new phase of the war. It's not just about the trenches anymore. It's a war on the rails designed to starve Ukraine's interior. It's being fought with smuggled Western tech, turning cheap drones into precision killers. And it's defined by particular cruelty, targeting the very people who run to help.
It's a sobering reality.
It is. And here's the final thought I'd leave you with. We talk about sanctions like there's some kind of solid wall. But if a drone can hit a Ukrainian train, guided by a U.S. satellite terminal with a USAI chip, smuggled through a neutral country as auto parts.
What does that say about how effective those sanctions really are?
Exactly. What does it say about global enforcement? The front line isn't just a trench anymore. It's a customs office in Dubai. And as we saw yesterday, it's a passenger train in Kharkiv.
The battlefield has no borders when the supply chain is global. You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
We hope this deep dive gave you a clearer picture of the reality on the ground.
If you found this valuable, please subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.